On today's episode of the DeRaud-Messinger Show, we're drafting. Yes, we're bringing back the drafting. I think I liked it. Hopefully you guys liked the last one that we're drafting. But we're drafting Texas's X Factors in this video. Which, Dylan, you might ask, what qualifies as an X Factor? I'm still trying to learn that definition. Dylan was hammering away at my brain for an hour. I still couldn't really process it. But basically the rules were these players can't be in our MVPs video, which is fair enough. I took this from more of a breakout perspective in terms of players that I think will, bump onto the scene, although I do have some exceptions to that. And speaking, Dylan, of exceptions, I'm going to just start right away. Pick number one. Dylan had first pick last time. I will get it this time. I went with the senior wide receiver, Jordan Whittington. I mean, You can't, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like you can't pick elsewhere for this. I'm saying that, of course, as the CEO, founder, co-founder, treasurer, historian of the Jordan Whittington fan club, having covered him in high school. Dylan knows that very well. And this guy is basically the equivalent of a modern-day Jordan Shipley, Dylan. I mean, Jordan Shipley, of course, put up more stats, and he was Colt McCoy's guy in that era. But Jordan Whittington is that sure-handed guy on this Texas roster. Of course, you have Xavier Worthy, you have Jatavian Sanders, but Quinn Ewers is going to need to connect at a higher level, Dylan, with somebody. His passing percentage last season was below 60%. The top guys in the conference were north of 60%. Whittington has been that safety blanket for him so far. He's going to have to connect with some other guys, which Dylan, one of us might pick, I feel like, later in this video. No, spoilers or anything there. But Whittington, last season, 50 receptions, 652 yards, and almost shockingly, only one touchdown. But there are a trio of guys that are fighting for that spot right behind him in terms of production. And Texas is in desperate need for help from that number 3 spot. But top X Factor, I'm going Jay Witt. Now, Dylan, you got pick number 2.
Yeah, Devon, I like that pick. I actually didn't have him on my board, and here's my reasoning. You know what you're getting out of him, almost. He is that safety blanket. You know he's going to go 5 for 77 every game, or have that game where he goes 8 for 100. But he's all reliable. He's a very good player. He knows how to get open when he's healthy. Yeah. Yes, so that would make sense with your reasoning, and why he could be an X factor in that sense. So I do like the pick. That was just like I didn't have him on my board because it was almost like this is also a sure thing type of guy.
It's almost cheating. Yes, I agree.
It's such a great pick. Great cheating right now.
Thank you.
Yeah. But I'm going to go direct competition with your pick, Devin.
I know where
you
going.
Just hinted at him.
Yep.
I'm going with A.D. Mitchell.
Yep.
Transfer from Alabama, 6'4", 195 pounds, Devin, out of Missouri City, Texas, where he played at Cambridge.
Out of Georgia.
Sorry, did I say Alabama?
Yeah,
I meant Georgia.
We just got Alabama in our heads from the early season.
Last video.
Yeah.
That's my apologies, because in my notes I have him playing against Ohio State and TCU, so that would line up with Georgia. But he did score a touchdown apiece, Devin, in both those college football playoff games. But again, during the 2022 season, he did have an injury for about 9 weeks. So there are some question marks in that aspect, but he had a good rookie season. There's a lot to like with him. He brings height, talent. He's a possession receiver like Whittington, while Worthy does bring the explosiveness. Now, Devin, so I've got number 1 as the next part, because if you can bring a 3-headed monster for this receiving core on top of your tight ends, right, you've got a ton of guys to throw the ball to. So, again, with him having a successful season with Texas, it skyrockets Texas to another level offensively.
Exactly, and I referred to it. It's pretty obvious. Yeah, someone needs to step up at that 3rd spot. Whittington, who knows, maybe he slides down almost a spot in a way and becomes more of that, go-to slot receiver, as you're saying. And as you said also, it's more of an issue of, if he can stay on the field, because he is Mr. Consistent. A.D. Mitchell, definitely the guy to be looking for. He flashed a little bit of, those hands in the spring game, but can he do it, come fall? We'll see. But Dylan, you got pick number 3.
Yeah, so this is, I feel like, the true definition of an X factor right here. But I'm going with Jalen Catalon, Devin, redshirt senior out of Arkansas.
Dang.
Free safety. He's going to add the experience that is much needed in that secondary. Also in tandem with Jaron Thompson, who's also a veteran in that locker room. But the biggest thing is that injury that he sustained to his shoulder that's kept him to only playing 7 games over the past 2 seasons. Devin, everyone's going to point to the breakout 2020 year, which he had 99 tackles, 3 interceptions, and 4 pass deflections for Arkansas. But that's now about 3 years ago. So we're yet to see how this works, right? But again, like I was touching on, if he can consistently play 11 or the full season of games, right, with him and Thompson in the backfield with that experience in a position of need with those safeties, if your secondary, if you got guys that know how to be in the right spot, your defense looks phenomenally better, right? So that's why I'll be going with Catalan here with my third pick.
Yeah, he definitely has the potential to be a big upgrade, at least in terms of being that veteran presence that they need. Of course, as you said, injury bugs, what are we going to get out of him in terms of watching Texas play? We're not sure quite yet, but I did have him doing at number 2 on my draft board, so a little upset. I was about to slide.
Got my boy.
Ooh, I'm going to try to rub that one off. Now, X Factor number 4 here, I think it's an obvious name to mention. How big of a role will he have, at least at the start of the season, is to be determined. I have Anthony Hill Jr. Out of Denton Ryan, the 5-star recruit that, I think Dylan and I got to cover, at least talk about, quite a bit during his days in high school football. And he's definitely in a position of need for the Longhorns at linebacker with Overshone and other guys like Tucker Dorsey being gone from that group. But just the question is, Dylan, he's such a young guy. He's already built like an NFL player. If you've seen him on campus, Dylan, you might get a little scared that he's going to start running for you and tackle you like he's done on the field. But just a matter of, can he, learn the playbook as fast as he can, and can he show, Coach K that he's got what it takes to start day one? I think he has the potential to do it, which would honestly be quite the storyline for Longhorns on defense and be a great thing to see. But, until we're there, I don't know how much playing time he's going to get. So I think it's a little more of a safety value pick down here. But still, of course, not too far down the list. And then, Dylan, I got X Factor number 5. Now, I'm going to have to look at my list here because Dylan, shuffled up my order a little bit. But I'm going...
You're somebody of mine here, aren't you?
Senior... I don't know. Maybe senior defensive lineman Alfred Collins. Last season, he had 17 tackles. He was another 5-star / upper 4-star guy coming out of high school way back in the day. He's had flashes of brilliance, Dylan. I haven't given up on him personally. But the thing is, can he be a consistent factor like the defensive, Jordan Whittington? I don't know, Dylan. We'll see. But when he's there, he's a big-bodied guy who's also coupled with some, kind of freaky athleticism for someone of his size. Texas needs some help up front on that defensive line in terms of consistency. There's been, flashes from a couple of guys, which Dylan, I think you might pick one later. But can they get it together and come and just provide a, stable force throughout the season? To be determined. But at pick number 5, I do have Alfred Collins. So now we're on to you.
Yeah, I like those picks. For my next one, gonna go with a big body guy here. On the offensive side, I'm going with redshirt senior Devon right tackle Christian Jones. I took Kelvin Banks, first pick in our MVP draft. And on the other side, this is another huge bias. 6'6", 321 pounds, Devon, from Cypress Woods High School. We're going to talk all day about Kelvin Banks probably going to go up against the best edge players on every other team, right? You talk about guys from Alabama, TCU, Kansas State. But it's also going to depend on the other side of the offensive line and how that stacks up. Because the moment the other team starts switching those guys over the other side and testing Jones, that's when you can fall into some issues, right? So I've got Jones here as an X factor simply because if the name of the game is protecting Ewers so he can avoid mistakes in the pocket, you got to have both your tackles, which are in very important positions on the field, covering his butt, right? So again, this isn't his blind side area where Kelvin Banks is, but it's still of utmost importance. And if you can have both those guys playing at an incredibly good or high level, sky's the limit for that line, especially in pass protection.
And Christian had a big upgrade year this past season. Everyone's been kind of shifted around with all the influx of talent, but he did have a much better year and became, as you were saying, one of the better guys on that offensive line. So I do love that pick, unfortunately. I hate to say that you wanted a round there, but you ready for pick 7?
Yeah, this is my last pick, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I'm stuck between two guys, um, both defensive linemen, but I'm gonna go with another huge body. I'm gonna go 6'4", 362 pounds, Devondre Sweat, Devon, redshirt senior, defensive tackle from Huntsville, Texas. Again, for this front seven, it's gonna be all about getting pressure on the quarterback while also stopping the run, right? That's gonna be the name of the game for any front seven anywhere in college football, right? Now he's going to be paired up against Byron Murphy, who's more sliding into nose tackle, standing about 6'1". So Sweat's going to be that big body that clogs up that offensive line for the other team. He played well down the stretch of the season, but again, it's going to be about the cardio, his physical abilities, how long he's going to be able to stay on the field, if he's going to be able to be on the field for 3 downs at a time. So that's why I've got him there as an X factor, because if he can be consistently there for 3 downs or creating the pressure like the team hopes he does, then this front seven becomes infinitely better, especially if Anthony Hill, like you're talking about, Devon, becomes the guy that can replace Overshown's tackles that the team is now missing with Overshown graduating, right? So I've got Devondre Sweat here with my last pick between him and Baron Sorrell at the edge spot.
No, I definitely like it. And with my pick 8, I'm going to continue that trend. As you can tell, Dylan and I just like those big bodies on offense and defense, keeping the lines safe. And, on the other side, also going after it for that quarterback spot. I'm going to continue on that defensive line, Dylan. This is more of a little sleeper pick, and we'll see how much of a role he plays this year. He didn't play too much of a role last year because he was a freshman last season. I don't
I think
know.
I know what you're doing.
I don't know if
I think I like
you
it.
think.
I think I have him on my board. Yeah, yeah.
You're thinking about it. Okay, I'm going. I don't know if it's the same guy, but I'm going Ethan Burke,
Yes,
the
I like it. I
sophomore.
like it. Yep, yep.
Yes, I don't want to mention it because it might, rub a wound, Dylan. But he did end up going to Texas. But he was originally committed to Michigan, an outstanding lacrosse player back in the day. But Texas and Michigan, if you go to one of the two schools, I think we're decently happy as long as you don't go to another rival up north
Yeah,
that I won't
yeah.
mention.
We
But
don't have to.
Ethan Burke, 6 tackles last season. He's an edge rusher. He stands in at about 6'6", I think is what he's officially listed
I
at.
think 6 foot. It depends on the website, which is
Depends
crazy
on the
because you have websites
website,
six
because
six, 6'7".
yeah, out of high school, most websites are saying 6'7". I think the roster has him at 6'6", but we're gonna give him 6'7".
Yeah,
He's got the shoes on. But Burke in high school was just a terror. He really came into his own that last senior season of high school at Westlake. I believe the year before he was injured, or at least injured for a good part of it. So he basically had one go at it and just tore up the high school competition on their way to, of course, a state championship win. Burke could be the guy, Dylan, if he comes into form that could rush the passer for those Longhorns. Of course, Baron Sorrell would be a guy that is also trying to take that spot, but he's going to need some help. Burke is one of those guys that is a true pass rusher. So we're going to see if he can come into his own there. But yet again, he's only going to be a sophomore. He's still got a big frame. He's added some weight to him, some muscle to help out against those big offensive linemen. But I think that's more of an investment pick. We'll see maybe by the end of the year. But some people have slotted him in as a starter from week 1. But we'll see. I'm not sure about that. Of course, no promises. But more importantly, who's your X factor for this Longhorns team? If it's not Jordan Whittington, I don't know if we can believe you, but of course, no, we're just joking.
yeah.
Let us know, which players you're excited to see break out this year. And as always, don't forget to have a great rest of your day.